From looking after the overall welfare of the exiled Tibetan community to seeking a peaceful solution to resolve the issue of Tibet, and now introducing measures to prevent the spread of the novel coronavirus in its community, the cabinet of the Central Tibetan Administration, Kashag, is all occupied and yet energetic. Tibettv, I am Tenzin Chime, and today, the 4th of June, marks the completion of Kashag's 4th year in office. We will talk about its major accomplishments and preparedness in uncertain times with the President of the Central Tibetan Administration, Sikyong Dr. Lobsang Sengye.
And June 4th also marks the massacre at Tiananmen Square in 1989.
Right, that's true. So may we begin with asking, the Central Tibetan Administration, like all other administrations around the world, has been and still continues to respond to the unexpected health emergency due to the COVID-19. And the health sector being the epicenter of this crisis, how do you think we are performing in that arena?
Well, it's too early to say, my guess is the Wuhan originated coronavirus takes 5-month cycle. If you look at China, it took 5 months to subside or stabilize. Then in Europe, now it's normalizing, but still, there is infection and it's still spreading in some scale, and in America. So in India, we are entering the 3rd month, right? So June will be the 4th, and I think the most serious, and then July. Having said that, whole world was caught off guard. And even very rich countries like Europe and America, North America, even their health system could not cope with it. So we got time to learn from them. So what we have done now, as far as preparation is concerned, it's all prepared.
Right.
So the best medicine there is no medicine at the moment. So it's, social distancing and quarantine. So what we have done is we have put in place in almost 90% of the Tibetan settlements, quarantine centers for anyone who is coming from outside the settlement or to Tibetan areas. They have to be quarantined for 7 days to 14 days to 28 days. We have prepared places for them to stay, mostly 2 people in 1 room, in some cases 20, 30 also, and then some basic food to eat. So that's the best preventive measures, and we have put that in place. And all our clinics and hospitals are converted, to deal with this coronavirus pandemic. And also now we have shut down almost all the settlements, the schools and monasteries. So the social distance is maintained very strictly. And sanitization of all the settlements have taken place at least once, in some places 3 or 4 times. And then the testing, if there's any person who has some kind of symptoms, tested very early and then sent to hospitals. In some cases, in few cases, we have done the testing for coronavirus and then all have come out negative so far, So all these things have been done, and then including ambulance and hospital arrangement. So you can say, actually compare even to India, only unless you're from the red zone area, you're not put in quarantine place. For us, whether you're coming back from green or yellow zone also, we have, quarantine spaces. So that way, I think, we have managed to prevent infection and spread of coronavirus in the Tibetan settlements. Unfortunately, now we have very few cases, primarily in Delhi related. Those who have visited hospitals in Delhi, some of the infected, and one person unfortunately passed away in Delhi, Mazrugatila, by the name of Mr. Denjong. He is a very, an activist and community-oriented person. So, our condolences to his family. And then someone in nearby settlement is also infected because she happened to be in Punjab Basti. So, but we have already warned people. So only way to prevent from this getting coronavirus is infected is to quarantine centers. So far we have managed, but let's hope for the best. Yeah.
Right. As you have always mentioned the priority that Kashag gives to the education of the students, are you making sure that the students of the Tibetan community are getting a quality education in this unprecedented time?
Yeah, as soon as we took care of, put all the measures for the health system, in parallel to that, we put in education system in place. So under the leadership of Education Kalyan, they have done a very good job. Now from kindergarten to class 12, all the subjects and the courses are taught online. And you can watch Tibettv, and every class is available for children to study. Now there are two advantages. One, all the children who are at home, if their parents are diligent and active and students are interested, all the courses are available, so they will not miss a bit. Now it's obviously different from being in the classroom, but if you want to study, it's all available. Now the advantage is, even after the coronavirus pandemic, even for next year or year after, till the courses are changed, in our cases we know that 1 year if your math teacher is good, you become good in maths. Then the next year if your math teacher is bad, then accordingly you don't do well, right? So it's teacher dependent. Now this time we have selected, of course there are many good teachers, the best ones, and they have provided online teachings and the resources available for years to come. So that way, not only you can go attend classes, but also you have online resources available. So this is one of the big achievements. And then we have made sure that now, if you want to take online courses, you have to have internet data, and we have made sure that the students who are in poverty level, who are poor, they have data available, and those who are in colleges, if they are running short of money to pay rent and all, we made sure it's covered. So those who, especially in the case of Baroda, when the hostel was shut down, we had to send them home. Every one of them was sent home, and most of the expenses were compensated by CTA. In fact, we had to book whole bus to send them to Arunachal, to Mussoorie, and any expenses that we have to bear, we have done it. So that way, I think Education Department has done really, really good job. So I think the Kalyan and the Secretary of Department of Education, all the staff should be very proud. And I think even the public says so, So this is something we are quite good. And I urge all the children at home, don't waste your time. At least spend, anywhere from 5 to 7 hours a day learning and studying. This is very important, especially class 10 and 12. Your board exam will take place, even though the courses might decrease by 20% or 30%, but there will be board exam, and that will determine your life, which college you get admitted, and so on and so forth, right? So you must study. So parents must pay attention, children must, study. That's very important. So all the courses are available online now.
Right. Now that's a strong appeal and a good reminder. So the livelihoods of the Tibetan people in the settlements are severely affected. How are you making sure that they are all well looked after and well attended to?
As soon as I felt that India will also shut down or lock down like other countries, on March 17th itself, I spoke right here at the department. I told people that you must be prepared for 2 to 3 weeks of shutdown. Buy all the groceries that's needed. You should prepare. And on March 25th, it was shut down. And then after that, I also said the shutdown will continue for some more time. And on May 3rd, as India was opening, I said as soon as it opens, the coronavirus will infect more people. It will be more serious, and we should insulate ourselves more. And on March 17th, especially on March 25th and 31st of March, we discussed and we said we have below poverty level people. So we will list the people around 2,000 plus or minus. Then we should take care of them. Accordingly, directive was issued, and on April 3rd, directive went to Home Department to all the settlement officers. So those above the age of 65, the groceries should be delivered at home if they are in the list of BPL and below poverty list. And those who want any kind of food, we provide them. So by April 15th only, 1,000 Tibetans were provided for with all the groceries. And now I think those who are in the BPL list, there are 4 kinds. We category A, B, C, and D. One is those who are old and live at old age homes. They are taken care of. Then another one is those who are old, above the age of 65, but they live with family. They get around 1,000 or so rupees a month. And those who are above 65 but live alone with possibly wife or sometimes alone, then their compensation is higher. If you're 65, you get 1,500, then 72,000, and 75, 2,500, and then 80, you get, I increased to 5,000. 85, you get 6,000. If you are 90, you get 7,000 rupees a month. So once you are in BPL list, you are taken care of for life. So now we have asked for extra funding, and all of them are funded in the sense they have money to spend for 3 months' time. Now there's another category, is the education. Those children from that family who can't afford to pay tuition fees, they all are covered, the expenses all paid for. Now this time we made sure that they all get, if you're in high school, you get 2,000 rupees each to buy internet data and things like that. If you're in college, we have 60-some students, you get 5,000 rupees. So they are all taken care of. So now, as far as those who are poor, thanks to His Holiness and the hard work of our elders and the funding we get, people around 2,000 or so, we take care of them for lifetime. Once you're on the list, till you get out of it, we take care of it for life. Thankfully, since 2011, and 2011 there was 3,000 plus. Now it has decreased, every year, which means either their families go abroad or they start doing well. So the people in poverty are decreasing, but yet we take care of them for life. Now this time I can say with confidence, they have funds available in their pockets now. We have sent fund to their bank accounts, and at least 3 times we have provided groceries, and in some cases 5 or 6 times. It depends. It depends on individual. If they want more, we provide them. So they are all taken care of, because our job is, as His Holiness says, take care of the old, sick, poor, and the youngs. Even you see how many migrant workers are walking home. And you can clearly see that, right? Even in Switzerland, in Geneva, there was one video of several thousand people lining up for 4 hours to get groceries. Those things you don't see in our settlements. And then even in US, you have how many homeless people, right? Those things you really don't see. Everybody has shelter, maybe lesser rooms, smaller rooms, things like that. But enough basic food, shelter is provided for.
Right. So moving to one of the primary tasks of Kashag, Advocacy for Tibet, with the current limitations and restrictions on public gatherings, many activities related to advocacy, campaign, lobby cannot be carried out right now. Do you think that CTA is running behind the schedule with regards to advocacy-related activities?
I hope not. For example, as soon as the whole world shut down in March, and the debate arose as to all the offices of Tibet also, they had to work from home, they could not travel, right? And whether our month-long campaign in regard to Kunsi Penchurumche from April to May should continue or not, because there was such limited time, and there were 2 views, right? Some saying we should not because all the offices shut down anyways, and no one's going to take any of our petition that we are going to submit. But nonetheless, we went ahead, and I said, well, we should go ahead and do online campaign. The coronavirus, originated in China. They are shutting us down, but our Tibetan cause cannot be shut down. So we will go virtual and we will go online, and we did lobbying. I think we sent a petition, and 145 some organizations, co-signed the petition. We submitted to the relevant UN agencies. At the end of the Pension Lama campaign, 180 members of parliament signed up. 15 countries issued statements, and news media from BBC to CNN, to New York Times, all covered Pinche Rinpoche issue, right? So that shows that we have been very active. And in fact, in the last 15, 20 years, this is the first time we got such major coverage and support on Pinche Rinpoche, you know. So that shows that, you know, Chinese government may try to shut down the world, and coronavirus may shut down many of our offices, but our activism and campaign will continue. Similarly, the Tibetan Policy and Support Act, you know, it's in this House passed it, now it's in the Senate, and we are making efforts to make sure the Senate Foreign Relations Committee debate and then pass it. So, you know, they tried once, and there are so many agendas. They, you know, debated and passed some of the agendas, but the Tibet issue is still pending. So hopefully, there will be debate, and then, you know, the full Senate will vote,
Right.
and we will have the Tibetan Policy Support Act. So on every count, we are making efforts. And recently, with the Indo-China border issue and some controversial statement made by P. Stobden, we made sure that all these things are answered, right? So we are out there in Indian media, some of the major Indian media and news papers and others have covered it. So politically, we are very active.
Right. And the Central Tibetan Administration has approved 33 million rupees for its COVID-19 program. As we all know that the cost incurred as a result of CTA's response to COVID-19 is of course unexpected. How are you managing funds in this unforeseen circumstances? Is there any kind of new experiences that you learned from this? Any lesson as an administration?
Yes, several. And one challenge is always CTA, even though it's a small exile entity, a freedom movement. But if you look at the rules and regulations, it's like, cobweb. So many rules and regulations, you know. So when the emergency happened related to COVID-19, we all were, you know, we were caught off guard, like many of the countries, as you can see. And then somehow we managed now. We found there's an emergency clause where we could seek funding from the parliament. And we were sanctioned, you know, 15 million rupees and another 10 million rupees because there were many families, especially in urban areas outside the settlement. They were doing business or rent places, they couldn't pay rent and they couldn't make a living. So we said we'll give 5,000 rupees each to 1,000 families, but then the applicants increased to 2,000, right? And then, yes, we managed to, you know, distribute 1 crore, the 10 million rupees to all of them. So even though it was double the amount we expected, but nonetheless, we said we should go ahead and distribute from our sources. And then we also applied to PRM from the US government because we wanted to make sure that, you know, it's easy to say you should be prepared from health point of view to prevent pandemic, but, you know, so many expenses for quarantine centers, PPE, hospitals, sanitization. So then we managed to get the funding, and we have done that. And then, as you mentioned, for below poverty, we made sure that, you know, monthly they have money to spend in case anything they need. So now we have also applied for some funding for USAID because many people cannot do agricultural works, cannot do summer business, taxi, you know, the business, and then winter business like sweater selling. So how do we help them? Right. By giving, you know, zero interest rate loans. All these things are planned. So as per our plan, you know, we have approached this systematically, and as you mentioned, from health to education to political to poor people to economy or finance. So things are put in place, and we are executing it, you know, as we move forward. Right. So far, we have managed it.
As an administration based in a country that is not your own, and in such kind of unprecedented times, what lessons did you learn?
One big lesson that the whole world learned is that once you are physically shut down, how do you function? Because in the old world, is meeting people, coming to office, you know, is the norm, right? You have to be friendly. Now the new normal is you have to maintain social distance. You know, more people more dangerous or more risk. So, so when CTA was shut down, our biggest worry was now, what do you do at education? How can we take care of health? And how do we take care of old and sick and people who are poor? Those were our worries. But we found out, like many countries, that it's quite difficult to function, online. So now we have a plan, we have a task force, and I will be attending that. And then, how do we move from manual base to e-governance of CTA? That's the plan. So we have already ordered and sought funding for 200 or so laptops, and they all are coming. And we have put in software at SAD, where the staff member can log in at 9 a.m. and then can see their function and activities from hourly basis. At the end of the day, you can put all the things that you have done for the day. On a weekly basis, you can see who's performing, who's not performing. So those kind of software is in place, and our training is being provided to all the departments. And with all these laptops that will be distributed, so we will move from manual-based CTA to e-governance CTA. So that's the biggest lesson we learn. So that even in future, when there's pandemic, CTA will be open and our movement will continue.
Great. In the last year's 10 December statement, you have announced that the CTA will observe or dedicate the year 2020 to thank His Holiness the Dalai Lama. As we see, half the year has passed now. Do you have any plans to extend this gratitude year, or how are you planning to begin observing the Thank You Dalai Lama year?
His Holiness is the life and soul of Tibetan people. He is our heartbeat, and we are very, very grateful to him for all the hard work and contribution that he has made towards Tibetan movement and Tibetan people. So he's approaching now 85th year, and we dedicated this year as a gratitude year. And we had planned activities from April 1st to March 31st. Now, because of this coronavirus, we got caught off guard, and many of the offices shut down, so we could not do much. But having said that, now we had a discussion at the cabinet, Kashag, and we have decided now all the activities will begin from July 1st and then carry on till June end next year. Because TIPA also has this, Yerki summer, event, so which will start in early July, and then which is dedicated also to His Holiness. And then the July 6th will be His Holiness' birthday. Last year, His Holiness has kindly agreed to attend the birthday personally. And we had, I had invited US Ambassador to India as the chief guest. He had also agreed. In fact, he recently called me, Ambassador called me saying, is your event on? I'm still willing and happy to come and participate. Now, in a week or two, we'll decide. So we will have an event. What kind, we will see. And then there are activities related to schools and students, health also, and through the home department, and so on and so forth. So all the activities will begin from July on, and then we will, of course, celebrate in some form, but it will be, bit modified given the circumstances. But yes, we will observe this gratitude year to His Holiness, the Great 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet.
Right, Kongsi Yongla, one last question. Now, fourth year in office completed. All in all, looking back at the past year, what do you think is Kashag's biggest achievement?
Well, I will be, in fact, all of my colleagues will be, we have made it a norm to speak more in detail in the month of August, because August 8th is the 9th year of my Sikyong's term, right? So all the, all of my colleagues will come out and, share what they have achieved and report to the general public. But last year you can see, Tibet Policy and Support Act in the U.S. House was a major achievement with 392 votes in the U.S. House, and then now to the Senate, and then internationally. Our participation everywhere was maintained, and the funding has increased. All the activities within India has gone on very well. As far as education has been #1 priority, performance of class 10 and 12 has been very good last year. In fact, I was surprised that when I went to Ladakh and Bihar and other places, most of the states in India, their pass percentage of class 12 is 50% or 60 or 75%, 80%. Government schools, they think it's really great if it's 75%. Ours is 98, 99%. So if we have one school get a 90%, we are very disappointed. So even you compare to India and South Asia or Southeast Asia, our performance, in our circumstances has been very good. So in the last 9 years, in the 4 years, we have improved on things that we have been doing. And then, we keep doing better. And you can see transformation of, whole of Kanki, the studio. I mean, you can go on and on. You don't want to, list too many things. Yes.
So we're going to wrap up this interview here. Thank you, Kungo, for being with us, and congratulations on successfully completing your 4th year in office, and that too for the 2nd term. Tashtale.
Thank you, Shimla.
That was the president of the Central Tibetan Administration, Sikyong, Dr. Lobsang Sengye, on completion of his 4th year in office. Thank you for watching Tibet TV.